Bones and All, directed by Luca Guadagnino, starring Taylor Russell and Timothy Chalamet. I saw this movie in theaters when it came out in 2022, and I did not know much. I didn't read the book, I didn't even know it was a book. I didn't fully understand what the film was about, and I feel like because it's such a dark premise, dark plot, the trailers try to refrain from that because they just hope that you don't know, I think they just want you to know that it's two misfits on a road trip and that they perhaps are criminals, but like they keep it very low key. I'll read to you what IMDb says is the plot synopsis. A young woman embarks on a 1,000-mile odyssey through America where she meets a disenfranchised drifter. But all roads lead back to their terrifying past and to a final stand that will determine whether love can survive their otherness. Yeah, I guess that's accurate on some level, but the key thing that they're missing is that they're ghouls essentially. The film doesn't go very supernatural or big or anything too weird. Essentially, Lee, played by Taylor Russell, she's an 18-year-old girl, and you get the impression in the beginning that her and her father, just them two, that they've been on the run, that they go to different cities, and that the more you observe them, the more you're like, they do this because of her. And she doesn't fully understand what she is, or even it seems like she's not aware of it. Like her father has kept it secret. She has an incident with a fellow student, and they have to leave town. And when they leave town, he leaves her to fend for herself. And you get the impression that the father does care for her, but it's just obviously a tough situation to deal with your daughter being a ghoul. And he leaves her a tape of a recording of his voice just telling her all information he has to offer about her upbringing and her mysterious mother. And the film, yeah, it follows like the synopsis says, it just follows her go on a really long road trip through America. She meets Lee, played by Timothy Chalamet, and he's like a misfit outsider drifter, and he's also a feeder, as they call it in the film. And in this, she also meets other feeders, and one of them being Mark Rylance, named Sully. And he is extremely creepy, extremely weird. Mark Rylance is just so good. He could be such a calming, wise, warm type of older man, or here like a very creepy, perverted, like off person. And he plays it extremely well. It's unsettling every scene he's in. You just feel like he just gives off the most creepiest vibes ever. And this movie just really spoke to me on such a deep level. I absolutely love this film, and it's almost like a comfort film. I'm not so sure, but for sure it's one of my favorite of all time. It really just stood out to me immediately. And then when I bought it, I saw it, and then when I bought it on physical media, and I've just seen it like every year since. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of explore that a little bit like I did in my 8 chapter 1 video. This film's operating on multiple levels for me personally. As a teenager, I loved road trip movies. I just love that spirit of running away, having a destination, a life-changing adventure for a teenager or a young adult, and just, exploring the world and just, I don't know, just something about that spirit really spoke to me as a young kid and teenager. And also in high school, I mean, I've always been kind of a romantic, especially in high school, of course. So I watched a lot of romance growing up. And as I've gotten older, I feel like I still watch romance, but not nearly as much as I did. And I feel like this film is an elevated version of all those things. And now it speaks to me as an adult and speaks to that inner adolescent that obviously still exists within me. And now that I'm older, I'm much more drawn to darker things. I find comfort in darkness. And this film is a dark romance. And it's the road trip. It's all those things that just speak to me on a very personal, nostalgic level, but also for who I am today. Because the film is more than just a road trip film. The two characters, they're going through very complicated character journeys, and I love them both. Marin, played by Taylor Russell, her journey is very interesting because she's coming to terms with the fact that she's a feeder. And she obviously thinks she's a normal human being, so her morals are like that, like murder's wrong, like normal, proper morals. And here she is coming to terms that she needs to feed, and that they establish that the older you get, the more you need to do it. And she just is struggling with that, like, no, this is wrong. And it's just like, well, you have to. She goes through a lot of like phases in the film because she's young and she's understanding this really complicated part of herself. So it's just a internal moral struggle. Like, how do I view myself? Like, am I a monster? Should I hate myself? Or do I just embrace this? Like, I don't know what to do with this. And Timothy Chalamet's character, they don't say his age, but he's older, probably like 21, maybe we'll say. He's used to this, but he also he gives off the vibe that he has everything figured out. As we all know from those characters, they don't. It's a front. So whenever she's voicing all these concerns, he gets like frustrated and he's like, "Why are you making this harder than it needs to be?" Clearly, he has those struggles as well, but he's just trying to ignore it and be like, "Well, what am I supposed to do? Just kill myself?" Like, and the movie entertains that idea, like this is what it is. This is who I am. Like, what are we supposed to do with this? Just wallow in self-hatred? And I feel like that's very interesting. And his character journey as well. He has a lot of trauma, a lot of remorse, and he keeps it hidden for most of the film until the very end. And it's not that hard to guess as you learn more, but you don't get a reveal till the end. Again, very interesting. Both of them very complicated, and I feel like if you just deal with self-hatred, remorse, shame, or just feel like an outsider, I feel like just all of those things, like this film just really speaks to that in a really beautiful, deep level. I found it incredibly touching. And the film takes place in the 80s, so also I love the 80s. So also on that level, the soundtrack is full of 80s music I love. There's a great scene with one of my favorite songs of all time, Atmosphere by Joy Division. I speak about it in my comfort film video, but this film has a great atmosphere, and I love atmosphere in film. And this film's atmosphere is just so authentic. Atmosphere is always such an elusive thing to discuss. It's just so tangible somehow, even though you can't explain it. It's just there. You can't fully identify it, fully articulate it. But the film's music, the cinematography, the costume design, it's just so much atmosphere that I love. The film is so gentle, so quiet, and yet so dark. It's more dark through imagery than through tone. And yeah, the film does not shy away from the eating of it all, the eating flesh of it all. So the film is very gory while still being gentle and quiet. But I love that they don't glorify it. Whenever they're eating someone who maybe was innocent, they like really establish that, and they almost pay tribute to this poor person who's being eaten. This is a complicated scenario, and the movie treats it with maturity. And then the score, the score, of course, by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. I mean, they're amazing. Everyone knows that. They're incredible. Their score is just perfect for the tone. Like, again, everything works together. The score, the cinematography, it's all just so quiet, so gentle. The colors in the cinematography, the choice of shots, the way it shoots darkness, the way it shoots light. I feel like it's just perfect all around. Yeah, I just absolutely love this film. It's one of my favorites of all time. Just wanted to express, wanted to share, and again, using this platform as like a way for me to also have some self-discovery, And this film, I think, did pretty well. I think most people have heard of it or know about it. Timothy Chalamet starring in it definitely helps. But if you haven't seen it, I definitely would recommend this, whether you're a romance fan or not. I think anyone could enjoy this film, really, as long as you're not squeamish with gore and dark subject matter. Once again, I just want to say again that I feel like this film is for people that are tortured souls dealing with self-hatred, dealing with just some sort of darkness, depression, shame, whatever it may be, or if you just love aesthetically a dark romance, like, I don't know, like, however. I just feel like it's a beautiful romance where they come together and they help each other, especially from the male perspective, especially from Lee's perspective, after he opens up to her and he's very vulnerable and very guarded. And he's like, "You don't think I'm a bad person?" And she says, "All I think is that I love you." I just feel like that scene is so beautiful, so powerful. I just feel like it explores those concepts really, really well in a romance, in a dark romance. But yeah, let me know if you've seen the film. Hopefully I swayed some people to check it out. And yeah, thanks for watching.